What you want from me?
Language. I want that out of the picture.
Everything started. Didn't even cut.
All right, here we go.
Also, I gotta think of my answer.
It's good.
Oh man.
Hi, I'm Austin Artham.
And I'm Taylor Patton. Welcome to the Kitchen Table Podcast.
We're here to motivate, educate, and relate to you guys, sharing our stories, helping you get 1% better in all areas of your life. Welcome to Season 3, first episode of the 1440. We are here talking about relationships and why they are important, what they matter in terms of specific things for our own relationships. What do we want to improve on? We hit all that stuff on Tuesday's episode, and we're going to talk about Thursday's episode.
On Thursday.
About relationships
Right
and
now.
why 1440 is 1% of your day.
Today's Thursday, right?
Today's Thursday.
Yeah.
Not really, but
Yeah.
it's going to come up on
That's
Thursday.
I was making sure we didn't change things.
So, anyways, we talked a lot about relationships and how we ended Tuesday talking about how we want to be better in our relationships, like specifically what we want to do. When I look at relationships, I'll say my answer and they'll give you time to think.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'm perfect. I mean, I don't know what you're.
Well, Taylor gets mad at me because I hit him with stuff that we've been talking about that he doesn't think of the actual answer for. He goes, hold up, wait, I haven't thought of an answer. Okay, well, we're going to be doing this for 18 hours then. We're going to get 18% better.
Probably.
Anyway.
It takes me a minute to think about something.
So some of us can get better quickly when we're not very good at it.
See, you know what's good about that? You're always taught to think before you speak. And that's all I got.
I speak from the heart. But yeah, that is a good point. Same? That makes sense. Anyway.
It comes from my heart, up to my brain, out to my mouth.
No, it should go from your brain, though. That's where most things stem from. Anyways.
What's the question? Let's move on.
Yeah, the question is, what do you want to see in your relationships as a whole? Like, not individually, what you need to do better. What do you want to see more of in your relationships? So for me, when I look at my relationships, I want to see more input given to me. This is going to be bold.
Okay, what do you mean by input? You mean like feedback?
I feel like in my relationships, I run a lot of the direction.
Yeah.
And I want to know, and I was talking to Steph about this the other day, maybe that's how like relationships feel. Maybe other people feel like they're giving a lot and not getting as much from me. Sometimes I feel like I'm like the wise one and I don't get as much as I am hoping to get. Maybe I'm not giving as much as I think either, you know? That's why I think the challenge this week is great.
You like you receive more?
Yeah, like I receive more wisdom from them. You know what I mean? Like I value the friendship and just the purity of it, but I want to get a great example is Nate and I the other day were at the bar, okay? They were looking at wedding dress stuff, so we just went to the bar, okay? And we were talking, and some of the things Nate said, I was like, yeah, like that's a great idea. Like I was getting feedback, like you were saying, and I was like, I want more of that in relationships. So I feel like I'm normally the one that's like giving it. Yeah. At least I think, and I could be wrong. I could just be perceiving this totally wrong. That's what I think. So I'm looking for more of not advice, but just general in our conversations that make me think, yeah, I could do this in the future, or I could do this. You know what I mean?
So you wouldn't be felt like motivated.
Not really motivated. I just want to learn more from it. Because I love how pure the relationships are and the good conversations and the deepness of it.
Yeah.
But sometimes I want to have more like a mentor of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I have definitely some mentors in specific areas of my life, like a coach in this aspect or this or that. But I just want a friend like more detail in it. Maybe that's why I need to go up and do the challenge so that we can be like, hey, this is what I value in you. So I can get more perspective on this. But that's something that I've been thinking about lately. Especially as you get older, I feel like I'm craving that next step is what I've talked about in the spring a lot. And I don't think people can give me advice on the next step because they're not in my shoes, but they can give me advice on what they did in their next step. And that's what I'm looking for. Just of how it happened, what might go on, and just build upon that. Because then there's new conversations that stem from that too. So I just think that's really the next step in some relationships. And some, I don't want that. There's some people who I don't think that that's going to happen, and I don't want that to happen. But there's other people who I'm like, yeah, I want to have this as a conversation someday.
Now you feel like you're not like getting their full potential from them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't want to use that word though.
Yeah, but there's like a thought, they have thought process, or like they've been through life that you want to hear about, experiences you want to hear from.
Yeah, and I mean that happened this past weekend too. Again with Nate, he literally just said something about like him and Brooke's marriage, and I was like, wow, he's so right. I bet Steph feels that way. So I was like, yeah, like I learned from that right there.
Well, me too.
Yeah, you learned a lot probably. Anyways,
I heard a lot.
So I just think that different situations, different people can bring out maybe something in you that's not exact to your situation, but you can have a roundabout way to put it into your life. And I think friends that can do that in your life give you more value than just hanging out, having a good time, having deep conversations, and talking about memories, which is great. I want those and need those too. But in terms of the next thing I want in my relationship, I want to get deep into those things, which sometimes happen just with deep conversations as well. Well, it's not like it doesn't happen. I just want it to happen more. I'm also a very serious person a lot of the time. So that's my hot take for today.
Let's have more heart. I don't know why. I literally don't know why I wrote that down.
Because we're talking from the heart.
Yeah. But
you start in the heart, then go to the brain.
As a whole, was your question just for me, or what you want?
No, I just want like our viewers or listeners. If you're viewing on YouTube, thank you. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, Google,
your question, it was just the whole. It wasn't like me.
Yeah, as a relationship as a whole, not you individually. Like what you need to focus on. We've already kind of talked about that. What we want our relationships as a whole, a generalization, to dig deeper into or get better at. Like it could be as simple as like, oh, we don't have any deep conversations. Oh, it's very superficial. It's not very often that we actually conversate.
I would also, I want to say piggyback off you, but like galvanize. Like I feel like a lot of my relationships lately have plateaued. I feel like the value isn't the same as it used to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you're in a different stage of life, and all your people who are close are now getting married.
Listen, I mean, yes and no. I'm just talking as a whole. All my relationships between my coworkers, friends, from Des Moines, hometown friends.
They're just stuck.
Yeah.
So
I feel like, and maybe that's just me. I'm gonna say I've become more introverted, but I feel like me reaching out to people. I mean, we've talked about this before. I just don't reach out. I don't have the motivation to want to reach out and have a conversation with people. Does that make sense? So I think maybe that's where the heart came in. Because I was thinking about that. I was like, my heart isn't in the same place. I feel like I am a little bit more heartless. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I disagree that you should stop trying. Because the whole reason you stopped trying people is because you didn't get anything back.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating.
Yes, I wouldn't say that. I would just say, it's not that I won't stop reaching out. Because I just reached out to someone yesterday. You want to know what happened?
I don't need to know. I already know. Didn't respond.
But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's a look word in towards me.
I think.
I'm
not going to be a very good counselor here. I'm going to say that one, you take it too personal.
No, because then I was like looking. Well, not that I'm taking it too personal, but I look inward. Like if people aren't responding, like maybe I did something. Like,
or they just
that relationship just burned out.
Yeah.
Too busy to send a. You know.
Some people,
like,
yeah, but I know
you're
right. You're totally right. It takes 10 seconds.
I'm not here to play victim. I'm not here to play like down, like legitimately, and that.
Yeah, you're right. It takes 2 seconds.
Yes. So like,
I think that the heart and the motivation is all true, and I'm saying you're saying your relationship's plateaued, and I'm asking the question, why?
I legitimately think it's I focus more on myself now.
Which isn't a bad thing.
No, it's not. I'm just that's the outcome like I've seen. I put more time into me.
So at what point did it get to be I figured myself out enough that my relationships can now go to the next peak?
Mm-hmm.
That's, I mean, this is a whole, this has been 3 minutes of conversation, but from the 3 minutes, that's what I get out of it.
Yeah.
Is if that's what you think,
like,
if that's what you've reflected, the next step would be, okay, because you just said you want your relationships to have more heart. But it took you a while to think about it.
Actually, no, it didn't. I really had the answer since you asked me.
So that was the initial thought. Then you're like, okay, why? So then you thought about that, and you're like, oh, this makes sense.
Yeah.
See, this is why you guys are talking. 10 minutes, Taylor just figured out half his life. I wouldn't go that far, but
it didn't take me 10 minutes because I've thought, not direct question, but
So
I've thought about that a lot lately.
So then my next step would be, in order to make that a priority, or if you don't want to make it a priority, how do you focus on yourself more to get that gain quicker, if that makes sense? And maybe you don't need to. Maybe you're okay with like just chugging at the speed you're at.
Yeah. I was thinking, I was like, I was really like, how do I want to say like, Father Ken is a huge, like, I've been thinking about him a lot lately, and I haven't reached out, but I've been thinking about it. He's been on my mind a lot lately, and how big of an inspiration he was. Because that man lives life around a lot of people, has a lot of influence, has a lot of relationships, but he still lives life with and by himself.
Yeah, we've had a conversation about that actually.
And so like,
just to make it easy, best way to not be lonely is to have those relationships, and you learn a lot about yourself and others by building those relationships. But you should talk to them, have an hour conversation with them about it, for real. When you both get some time, I think it'd be definitely can't hurt.
Yeah. So
good stuff.
For sure. I forgot where I was gonna go from there, but I'll put it back. Yeah, life just happens and you die.
That's what Will told us to say in the 1440. Will, why do relationships matter? Well, you know what? Here's how to sum it up.
Life happens and then you die.
No, I think, to me, it was very hard for me to get, and Father Ken definitely helped with this. It was very hard for me to get to the point, and I'm by no means have it figured out. I definitely don't. But relationships to me are super duper important, because people in your life bring those experiences, make you a better person, and ultimately we're trying to conquer ourselves. Yeah. And I feel like, relating back to your situation, you can build yourself up internally, but until you face the real world and have relationships, you learn just as much by doing that.
And
even if you mess up, like we'll talk about this next week, even if you mess up relationships, you learn so much, and you got to learn from it and get feedback, not have an outcome.
Right.
The result, not an outcome.
We're on the pod.
I know, same. I was thinking, I want to go on a tangent.
Yeah. I'm so at peace with myself, and just like being like continuing like my own mission and that.
That's
so I'm no problem living by myself or like relationships.
Yeah, so I would say you're ahead of 90% of people already.
Yeah. And so I just wanted to re-clarify that I feel like we kind of left it as like.
Yeah, it seems like a down state.
Yeah, which it's not. I'm completely 100% content with where I'm at and headed.
It's just building everybody.
Yes. You're just saying like what needs to be.
Yes, like we want to build to the next step in our life.
I'd say that would probably be like.
I'm trying to get 1% better.
Yeah,
I agree. That was a good clarification. All right, that's 1440 for the week. We'll put our socials and links down below. Thanks for tuning in. We'll go on a tangent next week on our regular episode. Catch you next week.
Love you. Bye.